Hey guys, welcome to my Etsy channel. This is Nancy from nancybadillo.com and welcome to an Etsy video. Today I will be talking about what to sell in 2019 on Etsy. So if you are thinking of possibly opening a Etsy shop, or you already have an Etsy shop or you're wanting to open a second Etsy shop, then this is the video for you. If this is your first time visiting my channel, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to stay tuned with the most recent videos that I upload on everything and anything on Etsy. And let's go ahead and get started. So, if you are thinking of starting a business on Etsy for 2019, then this is the video for you. I'm going to go over how to get started and which categories are the best. That will be the bonus as well. So the first thing I always tell people when they're going to open a Etsy shop or any e-commerce shop is to identify your passion. You definitely have to work on wanting to identify what are you really good at, what inspires you. You probably want to sell on Etsy because you are a creative soul that wants to earn a living from doing stuff you love. But before you decide on what you're going to sell, you should ask yourself the following questions, right? So what do you enjoy creating? What is one thing that you do all the time that that you do on your spare time? What inspires you? What keeps you going? What do you wake up and say, if I had more time to do, I would do this? What can you spend hours and hours doing every single day without feeling any resentment, without being overworked, without feeling like you're tired? And how can you take that thing that you're most passionate about, right? The one thing that you love crafting, that you love doing, however, taking that and making a profit from it, right? You have to combine both of them. The reason why you want to identify first what is your passion is because you don't want to start a business because you saw someone else be successful at it. So you're like, okay, I'm going to tackle that particular business. You start doing it, you don't start making money, you get resentful, you get tired of it, and then you quit. So you need something that's going to keep pushing you, especially in the times that you're not making money or just at the beginning when you're still trying to like figure everything out and you're still trying to pursue and you're still trying to learn all these different hats that you have to learn, like SEO, how to market yourself, how to create a cohesive brand, right? The brand colors, etc. So you have to make sure that you pick something that no matter how hard it gets, that you're not going to just call it quits because you love what you do. So therefore you're willing to commit to it 100%. So that's the first step. It's really, really, really understanding what is your passion and how can you take that passion of whatever you do that is related to Etsy handmade items that you could go ahead and make a profit from. So if you combine those two things, you make magic. That's the simple formula that I always recommend to everyone that talks to me about what should I sell on Etsy. Now, once you kind of know where you want to go into, what direction you want to go into, the next step is defining your niche, right? You want to make sure that you niche it, niche it, niche it. It's so important that you niche down because if you have a store that you're selling 20 different items, like maybe you sell pillowcases and then you have also furniture and then you also have like dog stuff and then you have baby items, your target audience will get confused and it will be very, very, very hard to narrow down your target audience. So therefore you want to make sure that you niche it, and once you niche it down again, and you want to be very, very specific with the type of products that you sell, because the more niche down, the easier it will be to identify who is your ideal target customer. And then you'll be able to run ads, you'll be able to market those people in social media, you'll be able to write your personality through your listing description for those particular people and tap into their emotional side for them to buy from you. But in order to be able to do all that, you have to first start with identifying your niche. And identifying your niche is basically, it's gonna, one, help you set yourself apart from other Etsy shops. And it's going to help you also because you're doing something you love. Always keep in mind that if you aren't passionate about the niche, you will most likely quit. And that's just normal. That's what we do. And you will not put any, required effort needed to build a thriving, successful Etsy shop. I'm here to tell you that building a successful shop doesn't happen overnight. It does take a lot of work and effort. So therefore, starting your Etsy journey the right way is gonna help you, and it's gonna help you tremendously, because then you don't have to restart again a new shop or kind of rebrand yourself or remake everything again. That's just too much work. So starting the right way will set you up for success, and that's what you want to do. And bottom line, you want to basically, like I said earlier, you want to basically take your passion and find a niche for it. That's it. If you love jewelry and you like making jewelry, then what you would do is create an Etsy shop where you sell jewelry. If you like knitting, right, or sewing, then you would create an Etsy shop where you knit or sew certain items. And then what you have to consider is, what items do you want to sell? Do you want to knit hats? Do you want to knit baby stuff? Do you want to do knitting for dogs? It just depends. But then you pick that one niche and you stay with that one. So if it's only for dogs or only for animals, stick with animals only. If it's only for babies, then only do babies. Don't mix it up with knitting for babies and dogs. That will confuse your target audience, and it will be so much harder to target people with two different niches. So you want to make sure that you narrow down your niche with something that you're passionate about. So here are some things to keep in mind when you are defining your niche. You want to make sure that you pick a niche that has a high demand. You don't want to have it too broad, like I said earlier, that everybody and anybody, like you're showing it to everybody and anybody. You want to make sure that it's not too broad, not too narrow, but just enough competition that people are searching for what you're looking for, but there's not oversaturated competition that therefore you don't have to compete with like millions of stores, so therefore being harder to stand out in the market. You want to make sure that you're tackling a niche that you have sufficient time to dedicate time to it. If you are in an oversaturated market, you're going to spend more money to market yourself. Your cost per bid is going to be a lot higher when you promote your listings, whether it's Etsy or Google AdWords, or if you run a Facebook campaign, or even Twitter or Instagram, Pinterest, etc. Your cost per bid will be a lot higher because you are competing in a market that is oversaturated. So you want to make sure that one is not oversaturated, and you want to make sure that you have sufficient time. What do I mean by that? If you are in a market that is oversaturated, you're going to have to work harder than someone that's in a market that's not oversaturated, that stand apart and they only have like 50 items in their shop and they're selling like left and right and making a lot of money, versus you might have to grow your store to a large amount of listings. You're going to have to heavily promote your items in order to be seen in that particular market. So therefore, your time is going to be consumed a lot. And if you are like myself, a mom, you have a full-time job and you have your full-time business on the side, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to dominate a market that it is oversaturated and you don't have the time for it. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind. Another thing is, you want to treat your online business like any other business. This is one of the biggest mistakes people do, is that they feel that because they didn't have to do a down payment or they didn't have to take a personal loan to start a business on Etsy, they do not treat it as a business, right? They don't put a logo. They don't put a banner. They don't, fill out their about me section. They don't, reply to customers on time. They don't add listings at least, one time per week or, every other day. They're not going back and measuring their KPIs, key performing indicators, to see what's selling, what's not selling, what's doing good, what are their best listings, what are their worst listings, how can I change things around. They're not doing anything because they don't treat it as a real business. And in order to succeed on Etsy, you have to keep that mindset that it is a real business. Just because you didn't put 100,000 down and you didn't have to open a checking account, a business account, or a business checking account, or you didn't have to do any of these extra things that other businesses do, it doesn't mean it's not a real business. It is. There's people on Etsy that make 500,000 a year, that make millions a year on Etsy. So you have to treat it as a business if you want to be successful in it. Another thing that you want to keep in mind as you are defining your niche is to invest all the necessary time to find the best niche concept for your Etsy shop. Don't rush into opening a shop just to open a shop. Don't rush in it just to say, well, this is what I do and I saw other stores do it, so I'm going to be successful at it. Take your time, build a foundation, lay out what exactly you want to sell, um, craft out some timing. See, when are you going to be creating the items? Are you going to be doing it in the evenings when you get home from work? Are you going to be just doing it just Saturday and Sunday because those are the only days that work for you? Think about how much time you're going to devote to the business if it's something that you really could do. And also think about really, really assessing what is the best niche for me. Do I really want to commit and say I want to do hats and gloves and a scarf? That takes a lot of time. Why not just sell gloves only? Or why not just stick with selling hats only, right? So just really, really thinking through before just opening a shop, uploading a whole bunch of stuff, and then saying, oh, this is not working, it's time consuming, or I'm all over the place. So just really, really thinking about your niche concept is very, very important. And another thing is go and look at other people's stores. Get inspired. If you don't know where to go, just don't guess and just do anything either, because that's not going to do you any good. Just go on Etsy and Google whatever you want to do. So, or search whatever you want to do. If you want to do, let's say I'll do one right now with you guys. Let's say I want to sell digital prints, right? So type in digital prints and kind of see what comes up on the top, right? Kind of look at the ones that have maybe a lot of reviews. So for instance, this one here has 433 reviews. So let's click there. Kind of click on the store and see how long they've been open, how many items do they have. Get inspired. I'm not saying to copy their concept, but I'm also saying don't reinvent the wheel also, right? So just look at what they're doing and see if it correlates with what you want to do. Now, this store has been open since 2014. So the measurement of 10,000 sales, it seems like a lot, but then if you divide that, or almost 10,000 sales, if you divide that in the last 4 years, let's see how much that is. So the total is 9,461 divided by 4 years. They're making about 2,300 sales per year. Now, do we know if they got all their sales in the beginning when it first started and now it kind of went down? We don't know, right? So this wouldn't be a good measurement in my opinion. I always try to, if I'm going to do research on Etsy, I always try to look at stores that have been open a year to 2 years. That gives me a better idea if that market is popular. So this is a good store right here. This store has been open this year on 2018. They have had $614 sales. And this gives me a good idea that this market or selling printables is doable, right? Because this person is doing really good with it. And then what I would do is I would just kind of see what they're selling just so I could get a better idea. If this type of prints I would like to sell. Is it going to be similar like this? Is it going to be the pricing? And then what I do also, another thing you could do is you could look at their reviews just to see what products come out. A lot of times on the review, you will see the same products over and over and over, and that's an indicator that that particular product is very popular. So, for instance, this one with the beach, it seems like it's a little bit popular. You see it again here. This one here, the Picasso one, seems like it's popular. A lot of people purchased it. Um, so yeah, so those three seem popular. And then this one here, the ones with the abstract. Now, also what you could do is what I recommend is if the person has sales open, this person has it closed so you can't really see it. But a lot of times the person doesn't have the sales closed, especially if they're a new store because they don't know that they could actually close it. You can actually click on the sales and see all the items that they sold and see what are their top items to kind of get inspired by it. But this gives me a good indication if I wanted to open a digital print shop. This gives me a good indication that I could make money because she made money. Look, she made $218 selling printables. This is how you do a little bit of market research to see what sells. Now, would I be able to see what are her top contenders? No, because she has it closed. So you just have to estimate that with the reviews, you kind of saw a few of them, and then just basically you could also use Etsy com and kind of do an audit on her store and kind of see which products get the most likes, which products people are interacting more with, and that will give you also an indicator what are the top products for this shop. But this is a really good idea to do research. This is actually a digital store that sells instant downloads. It says it right here. So they don't send the actual prints. So their overcost is very low and they're making a decent amount of money for being a new store. That's pretty healthy. They don't have a crazy amount of items listed, and a lot of them seem like they're kind of repeated, or maybe they have a different background color, but they're not that much different from each other. So it's not like she has all this crazy products in there, but this is a great way to measure, right, or see the success of a particular niche that you want to go into, but you're not really sure if it's worth it or if people are selling on that particular niche. So I highly recommend doing this type of search. And if you're having a really hard time deciding on niche or finding inspiration, also like let's say you went on Etsy.com and you still can't find anything, I recommend going to craftcount.com. And craftcount.com is a free service. This is a free tool. You could track the top Etsy sellers by category. You could see it by just the top sellers or the top sellers by country. It's a really cool site. It gives you all this information, how many sales they make. Like this store, I wish I made that many sales, but this store made 1,097 sales, and it's probably in one day. So it just kind of gives you an idea, and then once you go in there, you could kind of click on it, go to the actual store. And this is a great idea right here. Look at this store. It's been open since 2017 and has had over 227,000 sales. It's crazy. It's crazy how many sales this person has had selling jewelry. And this is a prime example of a store that doesn't have, I mean, she has a lot of items, but it's not like she has like 10,000 items and she sold, or he or she sold that many sales. So I highly recommend looking into craft count. It gives you the top sellers, how much they sell, and you could kind of get inspired on what to sell on Etsy. Now, my top list on what to sell on Etsy, I'm just gonna go over them. Is one, digital prints, because it's a great way to make passive income on your sleep without doing additional work. It's a great way to sell stuff on Etsy without shipping or overhead costs. I mean, you pretty much will pay for some type of software to create the item. You will pay for clip art if you don't make your own clip art. You will spend the time to make the actual listing. But once you do that and you upload it, you could sell the actual listing one time or 10,000 times. It doesn't matter because it's a digital print. So it's really, really nice, easy to do. Jewelry, the one that we just click on is a prime example. Jewelry is very hot on Etsy. I honestly feel like it's one of the top selling items on Etsy. And jewelry like this is very small. It's very easy to ship. The cost for shipping is very low because it's not heavy. It's not a bulky item. You could, still dress it up really cute and send it out. So it's a really, really great idea, especially if you make jewelry to be in the jewelry line. Clothing is another one. So if you know how to sew, how to knit, and you're interested in doing clothing, I highly recommend to sell on Etsy. People come to Etsy to get handmade items, whether it's a digital print, whether it's jewelry, whether it's clothing. They love buying handmade items. So if you could create something that's beautiful, different, unique, Etsy is the platform for you for sure. Toys and games is another contender. So if you currently handcraft toys and that's your specialty, I recommend selling on Etsy because it's almost like, even though it's a very popular niche, I almost feel like there's not that much competition because creating handcrafted toys is very hard. So not many people have the talent and skill to do it. It's not something that you could easily copy or drag and drop and do, right? Like digital prints. So therefore, if you have an item that you make that's very beautiful, you could actually skyrocket in Etsy by selling have handcrafted toys. So I highly recommend, if you do make toys, to kind of go in there, maybe go to craftcount.com and kind of see the competition to get inspired and see if it's something that you will be interested in doing in the future. Kids and babies is another popular one. If you sell headbands, oh my God, it's crazy. One of my friends started a headband business in 2018. I want to say like around February, and it hasn't even been a year yet, and she's over her mark of 100,000 sales. It's just ridiculous, and she has only about, I want to say, 65 products on her shop. So it's not like she has, like me, 3,000 items. So it's just like, wow, it's just, if you make stuff that's very unique, hers is very unique, very different, you will stand out. So selling kids and babies items are very, very trending on Etsy. Vintage is another one. Vintage is a little bit harder to sell, but if you have vintage stuff at home, or if you have stuff that maybe you refurbish, or maybe not refurbish is the word that I'm trying to use, but you restored. That's what I was trying to say. Restored, that are older, is worth at least putting up on Etsy. You might have to work a little bit more on product photography and work a little bit more on marketing it, because it's tailored to a specific audience. So it's a little bit harder to sell. However, if you have great items to sell, one, you could price them a little bit higher because they're vintage and they're unique. And the nice thing about vintage, no one else has it. It is the likelihood of it, right? It's going to be very low. It's not going to be like 20 other stores that have the same exact item that you're trying to sell and all this competition. So if you market correctly, have the best photos for it, you could do really well as a vintage seller on Etsy. And then, believe it or not, stickers. I almost, I started a sticker company, and then I had to stop because I didn't have time for it. But I regret it now because I was making decent amount of money. The issue was the time I didn't have to commit for it. And stickers are very, very popular for teachers on Etsy, for kids, And even for planners, if you are a planner girl like me and you love your planner and you like adding stickers and to-do lists and etc., stickers is very, very trending on Etsy. I mean, there's stores that sell stickers and they make a killing. I mean, they make as much sales as this store here, over 200,000 in 1 year. So stickers is an ideal thing to do if you want to start with something smaller, that the overcost is not that high, the shipping is not that high. It might be something you should maybe think about doing. And the last one I wanted to talk about is a little bit different, is vinyl and heat transfer supplies. And that one is also something that a lot of people search for on Etsy. That it's just it gets a lot of views, and a lot of people sell because a lot of people use that for their own products or to become crafty. So I highly recommend possibly looking into that. But these are my kind of my suggestions for 2019, what to sell, what categories kind of do the best, and how to get started. The key takeaways from this video is that before you start your Etsy business on 2019, to well, three things. One, take your time to really, really think about what you want to do. Two, identify what is your passion, what is the best thing that you do that you love to do, that it doesn't matter, you will do it for free if you had to. And then and then the last one is identify your niche, right? So how can I take my passion, the thing that I like to do, and make profit out of it? So passion, niche, passion, profit equals your niche, right? So you want to take whatever you're passionate about. How can I make this as a business? How can I niche it down as a business? And then that will equate making money and having a successful Etsy business. Overall, you will have to do other stuff in your business like SEO, product photography, having a really nice curated shop, making sure you have a logo, making sure that you have a photo of yourself, an about me section. Um, the more information you have, the more beautiful your shop looks, the more you set yourself apart from thousands and millions of Etsy owners. So you want to make sure that you are setting yourself apart. So therefore, you could make more money and build your brand and stand, be different from everyone else. So I hope that this video helps you guys. I'm trying to create a sense of community where we all come together, we help each other, we give tips and criticism and, follow each other, etc. So make sure that you go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Make sure that you like this video, and make sure that you leave me a comment below with any tips that you have that you would like to share for 2019 as the experienced Etsy seller, or if you have questions about becoming an Etsy seller. And don't forget to click below on this video to get your free 40 listings. If you are currently thinking of opening a new shop, I have 40 free listings for you, and I get 40 free listings as well. So we both help each other out. So thank you guys for watching this video, and you guys have a terrific day.